Hey guys, welcome back to Cards and Comics, and today I've got an update, and definitely, more card focused today. I know I've been doing a lot of comic book related content, but it's just how I collect and how I'm doing things. The opportunity for me is to go to some Comic Cons versus the National, and that made me very focused on comics, and I also very inspired by my Audible choice of the Sandman, and it's really inspiring me to go out and get more of those Sandman keys and books, which I probably already should have had. So we're going to start with my Ken Griffey Jr. Collection, and I got a really cool card here. It is a 1998 Stadium Stars, and it is, I'll put the rarity up. I think these are pretty rare. I only have one other card. I think it's Jeff Bagwell. So a really cool insert, and not a cheapie either. Then we'll start here from the back. This is all from the same dealer. So we'll start here with a 2013 Tom Brady Rookies and Stars Crusade Blue. I'm not sure these are numbered now. These aren't numbered, but you can get a kind of flavor for the coolness of the Refractor, and I think that is awesome. So the Tom Brady 2013 Blue Crusade. Next up is a 1995 Summit Score Nth Degree, and these kind of have, again, almost like a refractor finish, but it's foil board, but it's definitely a cool parallel from 1995 Griffey PSA. And again, I don't really care about my grades with Griffey inserts and parallels. 8s are fine with me. Can't afford to have everything at 10. Next up is the 2005 Bowman Chrome Griffey Refractor. I really think these mid 2000s and towards the end of his career refractors are really undervalued, especially the numbered, like the golds and the Topps Heritage Blacks refractors. Those are just really rare, and there's going to be a lot of competition for those as Griffey collectors, realize how rare some of those cards are. And but yeah, really cool card. Next up is, and so here's the theme, the 2006 card of the same name, Bowman Chrome Refractor Griffey, and you can see design changes from 05 to 06, but really cool card, really shiny. Really like all the refractors, honestly. Next up is the 07, and again it's a 9, so the 06 and 07 are 9s, and you can just see how much more refractory they were back, even in the mid 2000s. So very cool card. And finally, you guessed it, the 08 Refractor. Again, just love having these mid to late 2000 Griffey cards. I just think that they're undervalued, and there is a lot of competition, and I think as the collectors move on to the later years, they'll find that these cards are challenging to find as well. Next up is I'll go through some of the vintage cards, and so we'll start in 1953 Tek Liszewski 53 Bowman Color. It's an awesome set. I just love cards from this set, and I'm just kind of sad he doesn't have his sleeves ripped off like he does in some photos. And then next up is a 58 Hires Root Beer PSA 8 Billy Gardner. I just love the set, and so I pick him up any chance I get. So 58 Hires Root Beer Billy Gardner. Next up is some 70s cards. So I don't actually have this card, shockingly. It is a 78 Pete Rose, and this is a 9, so I'm just really excited to have this card in a 9. And I think it is a very cool 9 in terms of just, it's very well centered, and has a lot of sharpness to it. Next up is again, for people who've looked at my videos, you know how much I love O-Pee-Chee. So this is a 78 O-Pee-Chee Johnny Bench, and again, I don't have this card, and I love all my O-Pee-Chees, and this is a really cool one. and you can see the difference in backs between the rose and the bench. So you can see the different color, the different stock, and then this actually will probably have both French and English, maybe. Need to focus for a second. Maybe my camera sometimes doesn't like to focus, but anyway, it's definitely has a different back and it's bilingual. So there you go, 278s, but one OPG, one tops, and I don't have either one. So very cool. Next up is I'm slowly putting this All-Star set together, just because it's kind of, I always just kind of like All-Star cards, and the kind of cheap way to have a lot of Hall of Famers. And so this isn't a Hall of Famer, but Sam McDowell was really good for a lot of years. And so this is an 8.5, my favorite grade, and I just like the All-Star sets. Lastly is a card I sold during the pandemic. I don't know, like the craziness in February and March. I sold this card and I just purchased it back at a much lower price. It's just a beautiful card, and I just love the deep red and the white borders, and it's just a really, really, really good card. I was excited to get it, and at a much lower price than my other cards. So yeah, and I'm going to put together sort of thoughts on the National, because I noticed a lot of people are really putting out kind of like their everyone's kind of thoughts on the National, and I wasn't there, but I do have a lot of thoughts on it. And one of the things, I just showed you some vintage cards, is I think there was this like kind of slamming of the dealers with vintage because they wouldn't come off the prices or they weren't willing to deal. I'm just going to tell you, like, there's a reason for that. There's a reason why the vintage guys aren't coming off the prices, why they're not willing to move cards at a much more severe discount than the modern cards, just because they're harder to replace, harder to find, pop counts are much lower. So I think it was a weird vibe that, the modern guys were all like, yeah, man, like vintage guys are, and almost like derogatory around that they're like the old guard, these guys with all the vintage cards, they don't understand the market and they won't come off the prices. I'm like, no, they don't have to. they literally have something that everyone else wants, and so they know it. So, but anyway, so first up is I got this Death Gallery book, and which is a good cover of Death, and I've said these kind of one shots in my Death prospecting video, hopefully. Our investment video that hopefully you guys have seen. I talk about some of these one shots don't have great Death covers, and this is fine. This is definitely a good cover for Death. It's just not very clear. Like she's very much in the background, covered by stuff. So I just don't feel like it's my favorite Death cover, but it's definitely better than a lot of them. So this is a great one in terms of just, I don't say great one. It's definitely one that has potential to go up, because obviously inside it is a lot more Death-related content. But the thing that's awesome about this is when you flip it over, you've got included here is a Death tattoo and some Vertigo tattoos and an Ankh. I just thought that was awesome. And this, photo here, I mentioned in my Death video, this is a trace drawing of the model used to pattern Death after, or sort of the inspiration for Death. This is her. This is literally the person. It's just a traced over drawing, or sorry, picture and photo. So this is Cinnamon Hadley. That is literally her. Because this is one of the portraits used in, I think, issue 11. Where basically he took the inspiration from a photo and just traced it, and this became Death. I just think it's awesome that this exists in a form that you can actually have, because this photo never appears on a cover, which I think is sad. I think this would have been an amazing cover to have just that photo. But it exists in some form, and there it is in a tattoo, which I think is just awesome. Just kind of fun, find something like that in a $2 pen. And then here you go. This is CGC 9.6 of Spider-Man 322. And, you know, what this book is all about is the McFarlane cover, basically. You know, and, you know, there's, you know, nothing really going on. It's just Silver Sable appearance. I mean, that's not a big deal. Obviously, she's right here in the corner. And I do love the fact that, you know, McFarlane did these corner drawings, which I always thought were really cool. But again, any McFarlane cover on Spider-Man from this time period is awesome. They're worth picking up. And, you know, I think, you know, these will go up in time. So, you know, that's it for today. That's all I got. I mean, I think a very heavy card day, a lot of Griffey cards, some Spider-Man, a Death, some vintage cards. Obviously, everything in my wheelhouse as far as what I collect on a day-to-day basis. So, awesome stuff for me. You know, everything here is almost a PC item. So, a lot of fun for me. And hopefully, you guys agree too. And I'll see you next time. Bye.